Hello and welcome to the Brutal Iron Gym podcast, where our goal is to cut through the BS and deliver the brutal truth about topics related to health and happiness. So today's topic is nutrition, and we had someone ask about pre-workout energy ideas, and it was specific to trying to get away from like a pre-workout supplement and or lots amount of caffeine. So if you need energy before a workout and you don't have any caffeine worries, then they do sell pre-workout stimulants. So Rock Hill Nutrition in Rock Hill, South Carolina, which is where I'm located, is where we go because I know the owner, Steve Wayman, super duper nice guy, ridiculously intelligent on supplements, and he has very fair pricing. So he can kind of help because in the world of pre-workouts, there are a lot of varieties. So there are some that are just pure crazy energy. There's some that are more focus based. There's some that are supposed to be like natural energies, but they don't spike you too high. That way, in case you have blood pressure issues. So there's like 4 million variations of them. So I'm going to save that for a different podcast. So what we're going to talk about today is specifically the question that the person asked was how to get away from those supplements. So sometimes people want to get away from them due to the amount of caffeine that is in them. So it can be up to like 3 or 4 times like the cup of coffee. So it'd almost be like taking like 3 cups of coffee like instantly. And that's definitely going to get you moving. And then also the cost. So they can tend to be pretty, they're not actually like that expensive, but there are maybe more like cheaper ways to get the same kind of effect and maybe get the same effect at a healthier way. So that's what we're going to look for in this one. In general, I'm going to kind of give you some we're just going to run through it and then I'll give you the good, honest answer at the end. So one of the things you can do is to look to reduce your caffeine. So they do have differing caffeine amounts in the supplements. So if you just are worried about too much caffeine, you can pick one that has a lower amount of caffeine or has like natural energy boosters. There's like things like guana root, and there's a whole bunch of other craziness out there. So it's kind of changing every month. But there are ones that are more natural based. So the company Now, NOW, I believe they're based out of Canada, but they have a supplement called Energy, so Now Energy. So it's a good one that I've used with clients in the past and used it myself, that it gives you some energy, but it's not bounce off the walls energy, and it's more natural based, so you're not going to feel like crash and burn on the days you don't take it, and you're not going to feel kind of like not going to build up a tolerance to it very quickly, meaning that all of a sudden it won't work and you have to kind of up the ante, which is what happens with caffeine. So our bodies do get used to caffeine as a stimulant, and it starts to adjust to where the same amount of caffeine doesn't seem to work as well, and then we have to continue to kind of go up and up. So caffeine is a drug, so it has that type of effect. So Now Energy is a supplement that I've used with clients in the past and myself, and it's been very successful, and it's relatively healthy and relatively cheap. So that's a good one to look at. So people who do like energy drinks, so I know like there's Rockstar is a very cheap energy drink that has 320 milligrams of caffeine, which is bonkers. That's a lot of caffeine. So whereas like you can do a Red Bull like 8-ounce drink, and I think I just said Red Bull. I don't know if that's going to sound different or not to you guys. So but Red Bull has an 8-ounce drink, and it's 80 milligrams of caffeine. So often when people are wanting to take like an energy drink, there's usually things they're looking for that are independent of the caffeine itself. So number one, they're looking for like a sweet taste. So something that has like sweetness to it. Simply drinking a sweet drink can sometimes make people feel like they should have energy, and that's enough to get them moving. Other times you can have those things, they have more enormous amounts of caffeine in them, but they also have a lot of sugar. And the sugar kind of gives you like an energy rush, and that can often get people moving and get them going. So there's kind of like a placebo effect in terms of the sweetness, and then the sugar definitely has like an energy to it. So sometimes you can actually just pick a drink that has no caffeine. It just has sweetness and some sugar, and that can make you feel like, oh, I should have energy now. I just drank something sweet and it has sugar. I don't normally drink that, hopefully, fingers crossed. throughout the day as a regular drink. So you shouldn't be drinking like super sugary drinks all day. So it can feel like a special treat, and therefore it can make you feel like you should have energy. So that's one thing you can do, is reduce the caffeine amount of the drink you drink, and or drink a drink that has sweetness to it and some sugars to give you more of like that natural energy and that placebo effect. So in regards to that is oftentimes we'll use intra-workout drinks with clients. So it'll have like caffeine in it. Gatorade, like powder, because it's kind of like you can measure out how much carbs you want in there. So Gatorade powder, some people will say it's like expensive, but not if you space out how many freaking servings you're going to get out of it. It's actually pretty cheap. But that's a way where you can measure out like, okay, I just want 20 grams of sugar, gives me something sweet, gives me a little bit of energy, and then I can drink that to start my workout and drink it during my workout to kind of get energy, not only at the beginning, but get energy throughout. So sometimes I'll drink just like freaking sweet tea or something like that while I'm working out. I often drink milk, but that's for a different reason. That's more for recovery and muscle building rather than energy. But that's typically what you're going to look for, is you can replace a pre-workout supplement by just picking something that has a sweet flavor to it and has sugar. If you go to a sugar-free option, you will get the sweetness, but it'll feel kind of hollow. There will be no energy from it because there is no energy in it. So if it has no calories, it has no energy. So if you want something that's going to give you energy, it has to have energy in it. So you do have to pick something that has sugars. If you're worried about fat loss, we've talked about this in past podcasts, how the sugar that you might consume to get you motivated and feeling good in your workout, you'll burn far more calories doing a really good, fun workout. But if you avoid the sugar and you kind of have a crappy workout because you have no energy, you're going to really reduce the stimulus for muscle building, for strength building, for fat loss that the workout would have provided. So to cost yourself having a good workout just to avoid 100 calories is pretty damn dumb, because you're going to miss all the benefits of a good workout. So it's better to have 100 calories from sugar to give you the energy and crush your awesome workout and get all the benefits from the workout. So in podcast number 93, we discuss intra-workout drinks. So you can check that out if you like that idea. It's how to make kind of cheap drinks that you can start your workout with and drink during your workout to have good energy. So they're very, very, very effective if somebody works out in the morning, typically on an empty stomach. So that way you can actually have some energy and not wear yourself out and feel like you're generally dead at the end of the workout or even in the middle. The other thing we look for is you can substitute a drink with just whole foods. So depending on the time you eat the food ahead of the workout, it will affect what type of foods are best to eat. So in podcast number 249, we discuss meal timing. And within that podcast, we discuss how certain foods have different digestive rates, meaning that the energy available within the food has a different amount of time than it would actually be broken down and available in our bloodstream. So if I eat something with a lot of fats in it, and then I try to work out in 10 minutes, that's going to be a horrible, horrible choice because fats take hours to digest. So I might not get energy from that food I ate for maybe 2 or 3 hours. So if I try to work out right afterwards, I just have that food sitting in my belly. My body's trying to decide, do I give blood for digestion to my belly or in intestines, or do I give blood to my muscles? So you sometimes just don't feel good. You feel like you want to throw up, or you just feel kind of blah, and there's nothing going on. And that can typically be because you ate the wrong thing before your workout. So if you're eating like 10 to 20 minutes before the workout, a very simple sugar-based carbohydrate is best. An example of that would be fruit. So you can eat like a piece of fruit, like a banana, apple, blah, 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 blah. And that's going to give you some sweetness, give you those sugars that we want for energy. It's also going to give you that placebo effect where you're like, hey, I had my fruit, I'm ready now, I should have a good workout. So it kind of gives you that positive belief that things should go well. It's also cheap, and it's healthy because it has vitamins and minerals in it. But obviously, is it sugar? Yes. But we just talked about the fact that if you're going to have like a banana to make sure you have an energy to have a good workout, that's a great investment. It's always worth it to get an awesome workout. Now, should you have like a whole ice cream cake, or like 3,000 calories of sugar? No. So you got to keep that in kind of perspective. if you're eating further out from the workout, say 30 to 60 minutes, maybe you can have like a white bagel with some jelly on it. That's something that would digest in about that time frame. So there's other types of foods, and this is all discussed in podcast number 249, meal timing, about what type of foods are best to eat at how far away from your workout. So that's going to help you decide, okay, if it's an hour for my workout, what's my best food? If it's 30 minutes, what's the best food? If it's 5 minutes, what's the best food? But that's something you can do to provide yourself with energy before the workout, is you don't even have to do drinks. You can just do whole foods. And that really helps when somebody's on a fat loss diet, just because you're going to need to eat the whole food anyhow. Your body has to burn some energy to break down the food. So there's a thing called thermic effect of food that has to do with kind of like how many calories you burn to break down food. Then also, the more whole foods you eat compared to liquid foods, liquid calories, it's going to raise your kind of resting metabolism. So you're going to burn more calories at rest by making your body be more active with digesting food rather than simple sugar liquid, which can kind of just be processed by the body really fast. Now that's helpful if that's what you want, but if you want to try to burn more calories out of the foods you eat and kind of have a higher metabolism throughout the day, eating solid foods is a little bit of a better option. Okay, now those are some fast, I do realize it's fast, but I have a lot of other things I want to cover in this podcast to make it a complete podcast. So I don't want to dive too much into each of those, but we do have those podcasts to help you learn more about them. So we said in regards to nutrition, if you're worried about caffeine, you can do a lower caffeine option. So like we said, switching from a Rockstar to a Red Bull, it cuts your caffeine by like 75%. So it's only a fourth. I don't even know if that math is correct, but you only have 80 milligrams of caffeine instead of 320. So it's significantly less. That's one option. And then obviously there's pre-workouts with varying amounts. Maybe that's not obvious. I shouldn't say that. But there are pre-workouts with varying amounts of caffeine. So you pick one that has a low amount of caffeine. And like we said, there's even natural options that have zero caffeine. So that's something you can do. Just look at changing your supplement or looking at a caffeine reduction. The other thing, like we said, is you can kind of just skip caffeine altogether and a pre-workout supplement altogether and just focus on some type of sugary-based drink, like the Gatorade. And again, that's in podcast 93. You can learn more about those type of drinks. And the other option, if I want to avoid a pre-workout, if I want to avoid sugary drinks because I'm trying to be super duper uber healthy, and I want to focus more on whole food carbohydrates, then podcast 249 discusses how to do that correctly. And again, you have to know about what foods are appropriate at what times. So just because you ate food before you worked out does not mean that you're going to get energy, because you may have ate a food that takes longer to digest than the time that you ate it in front of the workout. So if I ate 15 minutes before the workout, I have to eat foods that digest in about 15 minutes. Otherwise, I'm not actually going to get the energy from the food. It's just going to be sitting in me while I try to work out. So those are some nutritional options, and they're all very good. Now let's look at some more things that maybe we wouldn't consider on a regular basis. The first thing is mental stimulants. So often, this is a little bit of a joke, but I feel like it's pretty damn true, is when you become an adult, and I would consider myself an adult loosely, a loose definition of an adult, but what I mean by an adult is you have to go to work every day, you have bills to pay, you got shit to do in your life, and there's a lot of stress. So makes adulthood sound super duper fun. But when you become an adult, what I think is true is that there is absolutely nothing that works. You are just going to feel tired and beat up and worn out all the time. I really wish that wasn't true, and I wish I was joking more than I'm being serious. But it just, I mean, damn, like being an adult sucks. You're just tired all the time. So, it's miserable. So what I found for myself was it didn't matter what pre-workout I took. So when I was in my late 20s, late teens, early 20s, there we go, I could take pre-workouts and I'd take like a 3-hour workout and feel like I was bouncing off the walls and be a manic psychopath. And then when I started this gym at 27, all of a sudden nothing worked. I was training 50 hours a week in person with clients. I was doing everything else like janitorial work, financing, writing programs. It was just a shit ton of stuff. I had to do on top of the 50 hours of training. And I realized really quickly that there was no pre-workout that saves that. So if you're working, and if you're an adult and you have a 40-hour week job, but you still have other demands to do around the house, maybe you have a spouse, maybe you have kids, so the stresses on you are much greater than 40 hours a week. So you're looking at maybe 60, 70, maybe plus that. And you just think to yourself, holy shit, like I could drink any caffeine I want and it's not going to work. Like I could bury my face in a pot of coffee every morning and it wouldn't even matter. And that tends to be kind of true. So eventually, caffeine and stimulants and stuff like that don't work well. So therefore, you need to find other things that can get you motivated. So one of the things that I look for is mental stimulants. And what I mean by this are like songs, videos, motivational sayings, maybe like reminders of the reasons why I want to work out. It all sounds really corny, but it actually does have an effect. So in podcast 259, we talk about renewing motivation, and it's actually a revisited, so it's a second edition of that type of topic. But podcast 259, titled Renewing Motivation Revisited, it talks a little bit more about this. But sometimes to get you ready to work out, it's not a pre-workout drink. Maybe you have to put on a song that at that moment is kind of getting you like hyped up and gets you really energetic. So I've talked about in a couple recent podcasts that there's a song by Rage Against the Machine. I think it's called Killing in the Name of. And this is not necessarily politically correct, so I apologize. Just get your ears ready here for a second. So is they have a 2-minute version in like part of the song where it says, F you, I won't do what you tell me. And the reason why I kind of like that is if I have, like, say my body or an old injury is being grumpy and it feels like it wants to shut down a workout, I'm going to say, F you, I won't do what you tell me. I'm going to work out. I'm going to have a good day regardless. So I kind of tell my body to go screw itself. Or maybe there's somebody that kind of like dumped something into your life and it feels super stressful and it would feel like it's almost going to get in the way of your workout. So you're going to say, F you, I'm not going to do what you tell me. I'm going to get a workout anyhow. So it kind of tells you, to me, it fires me up to tell life to go screw itself. I'm taking care of myself. I'm going to freaking have a good workout. I'm going to kill this damn thing, and I'm going to move forward towards my goals regardless of all this other bullshit around me. So I get kind of fired up, and that gets me going. So that's something that works. It doesn't always work, but it works often. I have a couple other songs I like. I have videos I like. So I've talked about ones on YouTube. There's one, F Your Elbow. And there's one, As Bad as You Want to Breathe, I think it is, or How Bad Do You Want It? It's by Eric Thomas. He's nicknamed the Hip Hop Preacher. And it basically talks about wanting something as bad as you want to breathe. So that's another one that kind of gets you fired up. So those are kind of mental stimulants. It could be a motivational saying. So there was a Bible verse I came across the other day that talked about when you're creating discipline. I forget what it was. It was Hebrews 12, something. But it was something about like in the moments when you're trying to create discipline, it doesn't feel good. And that's just the way it works. Like that's what's going to happen. But the benefits outweigh the not feeling good in the temporary. The benefits in the long term are worth it. So that's something I have actually as the name of my current alarm in the morning, is that Bible verse title. And you can tell that I haven't really memorized it well. But basically it tells me to get my ass up out of bed and get moving. And of course it's not going to feel super fun every day. But be disciplined, be better, get the dreams and the goals that you have. It's going to take some work. So quit your bitching, get up out of bed and get moving. So that's what it tells me. That might not be the message that Jesus would have wanted me to take away from that. but that's what works for me. So we have other things like reason reminders. So I've done this with clients where I'll have them write on a note card, like, why are you here? Like, why are you working out? What's your goals? And somebody like with really bad health, I've had somebody before write down they want to walk their daughter down the aisle because they had really bad health. I think their daughter was probably like under 10 years old. So they're like, I'm hoping to be around for the next 10, 15 years so I can see my daughter get married. I can see my daughter graduate like high school, maybe even college. But that was their motivator. So every time they came in when we were working out, if they kind of like started flaking out on things, I'd be like, hey man, what's your daughter going to be? Like, how old's your daughter? Where's your daughter doing? And I would mention the daughter, and that would get him fired up. And he knew I was doing it to piss him off, but it didn't matter. It worked. So there are things that we kind of think of as, why am I working out? Is it because I got bad blood work and I don't want to go on a bunch of medicine that I can't afford? That might be a good motivator. So there's things you have to remind yourself of why you're working out. And those can be good ways to kind of motivate yourself. So other than getting energy from food, you can get energy from mental stimulants like songs, videos, motivational sayings, like the reason reminders, stuff like that. And you can learn more about that in podcast 259. Okay. So the other thing we have is, do you even like your training? If you don't like the way in which you're training right now, it's not going to be very fun to do it. You can take enough caffeine to kill a horse, but if you don't want to do the activity, you're not going to be fired up for it. Okay? You'd probably rather go ride a horse. So the idea is you have to enjoy your exercise to some degree. You may not like working out, but maybe you like the social aspect of the gym and you like getting to meet people and talk, so you can do group activities. So there are a billion group-based gyms in the world right now because it's cost effective for you guys, but the company still makes a shit ton of money. So there's like Orange Theory. That's my favorite one out of all the group ones. So like obviously CrossFit. There's like Burn Boot Camp. There's probably like 4 billion of them. I'm missing a bunch of names, but there are gyms that give you a group aspect, and that social aspect, that little bit of accountability by friends and some other people, can help kind of motivate you, even if you don't like the exercise in general. But also, your style of training, in order to get the goals that you want, there almost never is a single only good way to do it. Excuse me. Meaning that there are a lot of ways that'll work. Some of them are more effective, some of them are less effective. But if a less effective model, say it's only 80% effective, but you love it and you would stay with it for the rest of your life, holy shit, that's a way better choice than a 100% model that you're going to quit next week. Okay? So you have to find a style of training that you like. In podcast number 62, titled Pick the Right Program, we talk a little bit about that. Okay, on how to decide what type of training is best for you based on your preferences and your goals. So you have to find a way to train that you actually can tolerate / enjoy, and that will help you have energy before the workouts. Because, excuse me, I might sneeze in a second, but it'll actually give you that motivational aspect that you might be seeking caffeine to kind of get over. So if you just don't feel motivated, sometimes we can contribute that or kind of associate that with being tired. So you take a bunch of caffeine or some type of stimulant, but yet you still don't feel like, oh man, I still don't feel like moving. I still don't feel like doing it. It's not usually energy based, like tiredness. It's lack of motivation. So using mental stimulants can help towards that, and picking the right type of program, a training style that you actually enjoy, that can actually give you the energy to cut the motivational energy to get up and get moving and actually do your training. So that's personally what I found is, as I got older and I became like I said, quote unquote adult, I just found that nothing worked. I was tired all the time. So I could drink a Red Bull and fall asleep like in 5 minutes. It wouldn't even matter. So that just worked out that way. So I found that you have to just kind of get started. So if you know you're supposed to work out and you're really struggling, try those mental stimulants. You know, maybe abandon the plan for the day and just try something that you might enjoy. But you just have to get moving. That's typically all it is you just have to, bite the bullet, start moving, and get started in some way. So sometimes I'll pick something really low energy to get started. And that could be like walking on a treadmill, using a step mill, maybe using like a rower, like a Concept 2 rower for a little bit, or a ski erg, which we have at our gym. It can even go outside, pushing and pulling a sled, flipping a tire. Just something that kind of just gets the ball rolling, gets you motivated, gets you moving. It starts getting blood flowing. It starts producing endorphins and adrenaline. So endorphins are natural painkillers. Adrenaline is natural aggression. So sometimes if you start with something light and just kind of gets you moving, that can get the ball rolling, and before you know it, you're having a great workout. So that's what I would look for. If you're looking for pre-workout energy ideas and you're trying to get away from supplements and it doesn't seem like anything's working, so you're just kind of struggling, we had those nutritional things we talked about. So trying to do like caffeine, but doing caffeine reductions or natural based energy drinks or supplements. We also had like kind of like sugary based stuff. They had like the kind of no stimulants whatsoever. And that was podcast 93 talking about intra workout drinks. And then we had understanding how to eat whole food carbs that would digest in time to give you actual energy for the workout. And that was podcast 249 meal timing. But other than food, you can do mental stimulants, like we said, songs, videos, motivational sayings, blah, 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 blah. And that was podcast 259. And then making sure you actually enjoy your training. So that's podcast 62. So, all damn day we have to do things we don't want to do. And every once in a while, hopefully not all the time, but every once in a while that's going to apply to exercise. You know it's supposed to be done. You know it's good for you, so you just have to kind of suck it up and get moving and get started. Just got to do it. And that's part of being an adult. That's part of parenting yourself. So it's not always fun, but you got goals to meet. You got health to take care of, and that's just the way life works. Sometimes we got to do things when we don't want to do them. So hopefully this did actually give you some helpful information. It might not have been the most motivational thing because basically I just told you you're an adult now, life sucks, you're going to be tired. But hopefully there was some useful information in here to help you manage that tiredness and still have good workouts and still progress towards your goals. So if you have any questions specific to this topic that we maybe didn't address, email us at brutalironGym@gmail.com. I'll give you an answer, or I'll make a secondary podcast to kind of address that topic. So we do want to make sure that if you take the time to invest into listening to these podcasts, that you get some beneficial education, information, some sort out of it, so that way there's actually a positive effect in your life from the podcast. So if there's anything holding you back, anything that's kind of preventing you from living your best life, even if it doesn't apply to this podcast, please reach out to us. Please let us know. We always are going to be happy to help. Okay? So, hopefully this one helped too. If you like this podcast, please share it with family and friends. The more people we help, the happier the world will be. Also, if you like this information, you can find more from us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Brutal Iron Gym. And if you have any questions, feedback, or suggestions, we'd love to hear from you. This podcast is for you, so we want to know what you want to learn about. And you can tell us at our email at brutalironGym@gmail.com. As always, I hope this was helpful, and thank you for listening.